It started like any other flight, a luxury Boeing 777 bound for Los Angeles from Dubai. First-class cabin, leather seats, champagne flutes, and the soft hum of quiet conversations. But this flight would become something else entirely. Because among the wealthy elite in first class was a man who thought he had it all. A self-made millionaire named Marcus DeLuca. He owned tech startups, real estate empires, and had more money than most countries. But what he didn't have was humility. And sitting just 2 rows ahead of him, none other than NBA legend Stephen Curry. Now, you might think that seeing a global superstar on your flight is exciting. For most people, it's a moment they'll never forget. But not for Marcus. No, for Marcus it was an opportunity to flex. You see, he'd heard stories about Curry, the skinny guy who couldn't dunk, the underdog turned champion, the three-point king. But none of that impressed Marcus. To him, athletes were just overpaid entertainers. He was the real success story, built his own empire from nothing. So when he saw Curry boarding the plane, quietly taking his seat and sipping water, Marcus made a decision. He was going to embarrass him. Not with words, not with threats, but with wealth. Marcus called over the flight attendant and ordered the most expensive bottle of wine on the menu, a 1982 Chateau Margaux, priced at $3,000 per bottle. Then he asked for lobster bisque, filet mignon, and a side of truffle fries. He made sure the tray was visible as it passed by Curry's seat. Then he did it again, ordered another round, this time with caviar and a dessert platter worth more than most people's monthly rent. He leaned back, raised his glass, and looked directly at Curry. "You gotta try this," he said loud enough for others to hear. "Worth every penny." Curry didn't respond, just gave a polite smile and went back to his book. That only fueled Marcus. By the third round, he started talking louder. "I mean, I respect the hustle," he said to the woman beside him. "But imagine getting rich throwing a ball into a hoop. That's it. No board meetings, no investors, no quarterly reports." A few people chuckled nervously. Curry still didn't look up. But Marcus wasn't done. He walked past Curry's seat, holding his gold-plated watch, designer sunglasses, and flashing a platinum credit card as he handed it to the flight attendant. "Another espresso martini," he said. "And make sure Mr. Curry sees the tab." The flight crew exchanged uneasy glances, but no one stopped him. This was a private flight, and Marcus paid top dollar. So for now, he ruled the cabin. What he didn't know was that Stephen Curry wasn't flying alone. Sitting 2 rows behind him was a man named James Carter. To the average eye, he looked like just another businessman. Quiet, well-dressed, headphones on, reading a financial magazine. But James wasn't just anyone. He was Curry's personal security detail. Former Navy SEAL, trained in close-quarters combat, and he didn't miss a thing. James watched Marcus's performance unfold with growing annoyance. He knew Curry well enough to know that he wouldn't retaliate, that he'd stay calm, stay humble. But James, he didn't have to. Still, he held back. For now, the flight continued. Passengers dozed off, lights dimmed, some watched movies, others simply enjoyed the luxury, until suddenly, everything changed. The plane hit turbulence, not light bumps. This was full-on shaking. Plates clattered, glasses spilled, people gasped. Then came the worst sound of all, a loud pop. The plane jolted violently. An emergency announcement blared through the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a technical issue. Please remain seated and fasten your seatbelts." Everyone panicked, except Marcus. He stood up, looking around. What the hell is going on? A flight attendant tried to calm him down. "We're diverting to the nearest airport. Please sit down, sir." "No way," Marcus snapped. "I paid for a smooth ride. This is unacceptable." He stormed toward the cockpit, ignoring repeated warnings. Then the lights flickered, and the oxygen masks dropped. Chaos erupted. People screamed. Some cried. One man vomited into a bag. Another fainted. Marcus finally sat down, but not because he wanted to. His hands shook. He looked around for reassurance, for someone to tell him it was okay. And then he saw Stephen Curry, still calm, still composed. He wasn't scared. In fact, he looked peaceful. Marcus stared at him, confused. How could he be so relaxed? Was he insane, or was there something Marcus didn't know? Just then the captain came on the intercom. "This is your captain speaking. We've lost one engine. We're diverting to Riyadh International Airport. Estimated landing in 45 minutes. Please remain calm." Silence. Then Curry turned and looked straight at Marcus. For the first time he spoke. "You ever been scared before?" Marcus blinked. "What?" Curry leaned forward slightly. "Fear is a choice," he said. "You can let it control you, or you can breathe through it." Marcus didn't know what to say. He wanted to snap back, make a joke, regain control, but nothing came, just silence. 45 minutes later, the plane landed safely in Riyadh. No injuries, no deaths, just shaken nerves and a lot of relief. As the passengers disembarked, Marcus stood frozen. He looked at Curry again. This time Curry smiled. "Glad we made it." Marcus nodded slowly. Then Curry walked away, leaving Marcus standing there, surrounded by millionaires, celebrities and billionaires, feeling smaller than he'd ever felt in his life. He checked his phone. 3 missed calls, 2 text messages, 1 email from his CFO. All bad news. His latest startup was failing. Investors pulling out. Stock prices dropping. Reputation at risk. Everything he built slipping through his fingers. And for the first time in his life, Marcus felt powerless. He left the airport, got into his blacked-out SUV, and stared out the window, thoughts racing. Money couldn't buy peace, wealth couldn't buy courage, and status meant nothing in the face of fear. Later that night, Marcus opened his laptop. He typed in Stephen Curry interviews, watched hours of footage. Every word Curry said made sense. About work ethic, about resilience, about being grounded. And something clicked. The next morning, Marcus sent a message, not to his team, not to his investors, to Stephen Curry's public email. A simple message: "Thank you. You showed me something I needed to see." He never got a reply, but weeks later, he received a package. Inside, a signed jersey, and a note: "Courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about moving forward anyway." Marcus framed it, put it in his office, right next to his trophy shelf. And from that day on, he changed. He invested in youth programs, mentored struggling entrepreneurs, donated millions to mental health causes. He even started meditating, and every time he flew first class, he looked for that quiet man in the corner, the one who taught him that true strength doesn't come from money, it comes from within. Marcus DeLuca's life had always been a race to the top. He grew up in a small town where everyone knew your business and no one expected much. His parents worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. He watched his father come home with calloused hands and tired eyes, never complaining, just surviving. But Marcus didn't want to survive. He wanted more, so he studied hard, got into a good college, dropped out after 1 year, and started building apps. Some failed, most flopped, but one, a simple productivity tool, went viral. That was the start of it all. From there he expanded. Real estate, cryptocurrency, AI startups, you name it, he touched it. By 35, he was worth over $200 million, and he made sure everyone knew it. His Instagram feed was a highlight reel of private jets, 5-star meals, luxury watches, and exotic cars. He wore designer suits like armor, spoke in sound bites meant for motivational reels, and lived by one rule: power belongs to those who take it. That's what he believed. Until that flight, until Stephen Curry. After the incident, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about what happened. Not the turbulence, not the near-death experience. It was Curry's calm. It was how he handled fear, not with anger or panic, but with peace. So Marcus started digging. He read every interview Curry ever gave, watched documentaries about him, even reached out to people who worked with him behind the scenes. What he found surprised him. Curry wasn't cocky, wasn't arrogant, wasn't even flashy off the court. He showed up early to practice, left late, always thanked the staff, always remembered names, and when he won, he shared the spotlight. When he lost, he owned it. There was something different about him, something Marcus had never seen before in someone so successful. Humility, not weakness, strength, real strength. Weeks passed. Marcus tried to go back to his old life, but everything felt hollow. The money, the parties, the ego, it all felt empty. Then came the crash. His biggest investor pulled out. A major tech company copied his app and crushed it in the market. His stock portfolio tanked, and worst of all, his reputation took a hit after a leaked email chain revealed some shady business tactics. Overnight, Marcus went from king of the hill to public enemy number one. For the first time in years, he felt fear, real fear, not of losing money, of losing meaning. So he did something he hadn't done in a long time. He asked for help. He called an old friend, a former teacher who'd always believed in him. They met at a quiet cafe. No cameras, no followers, just two men having a conversation. And for the first time, Marcus listened, really listened. He started therapy, read books on mindfulness, volunteered at a local youth center. Slowly, he began to change, not because he wanted to look good, because he needed to feel good. And then, months later, he got a surprise, an invitation to speak at a leadership conference, not as a tech mogul, not as a millionaire, but as someone who learned humility the hard way. He stood on stage, looked out at the crowd, thousands of faces staring back, and he told them the truth about the flight, about Stephen Curry, about how arrogance nearly broke him, and how humility saved him. When he finished, the room erupted, standing ovation, people crying, people smiling, people inspired. Afterward, a young boy approached him. "I want to be rich like you," he said. Marcus smiled. "No," he said gently, "be like him." The boy looked confused. "Who?" Marcus pointed to a poster on the wall. It was a photo of Stephen Curry, smiling, calm, unshaken, just like he was on that plane. Marcus kept going. He didn't stop after that speech. He didn't retreat into silence or fade back into the noise of influencers and entrepreneurs chasing clout. No, this was different. This was real, and people could feel it. His next move, a YouTube channel, not for flexing luxury cars or dropping crypto tips, but to tell stories, real ones, stories about people who lost everything, then found themselves. About leaders who learned that power without purpose is just noise. About moments on planes that changed lives forever. His first video, "The Day Stephen Curry Taught Me Humility," it dropped with no promotion, no flashy thumbnails, just a title, a face, and a story. Within hours, it started climbing. Views, likes, comments, thousands poured in. Some were athletes sharing how Curry inspired them. Others were CEOs admitting they'd made the same mistakes as Marcus. One comment stood out: "Thank you for being honest. I needed this today." That video hit 1 million views in 2 days, then 2 million. By week's end, it had over 5 million. People wanted more. They wanted his story. They wanted their story. So Marcus kept going, episode after episode, each one deeper than the last. He talked about failure, about ego, about fear, and always, somewhere in each video, he mentioned that flight. The one where he thought he was better than someone else. The one where he learned the truth. That greatness isn't about what you have, it's about who you are when you have nothing. One day, something unexpected happened. An email showed up in his inbox. Unknown sender. Subject line: "You told my story." Inside was a message: "I watched your video. I used to be you. Arrogant, rich, empty. Then I met someone, not famous, not rich, but kind. He reminded me who I was. You helped me remember again. Thank you." Marcus read it twice. Then he cried. Not because he felt sad, because he finally understood. This was his purpose now. To help others find their way. To show them that redemption isn't a myth. It's real. And sometimes, it starts with a moment on a plane, a man in a jersey, a quiet smile, a lesson learned too late, or maybe, just in time. Time passed. Marcus kept making videos. His channel grew, not just in numbers, but in impact. People started calling him the new kind of influencer, not because he had the flashiest life, but because he showed the messiest parts of his journey. He didn't hide his past, he owned it, and that made people trust him. One day, a message came through on his YouTube channel. Private account. Message: you don't know me, but I was on that flight. The one with Curry. I saw everything. You were a different man then. I'm glad to see you've changed. Marcus stared at the screen. He replied, "Who are you?" The person never gave their name, but they sent one last message. Just wanted you to know, some of us remember what you used to be, and we're proud of who you're becoming. That message stayed with Marcus for days. It reminded him that change isn't always seen by the world. Sometimes, it's felt by the few who were there, when you weren't worth much at all. He posted a new video the next week. Title: I was the worst version of myself, and someone gave me a second chance. In it he told the story again. Not just about the flight, but about how he'd spent years thinking money made him better than others, how he believed success meant putting people down to feel taller, how he mistook arrogance for confidence, and how one quiet man on a plane taught him the difference. The video went viral again. This time, it hit 10 million views in 5 days. Fans flooded the comments. Some said they quit toxic jobs after watching. Others said they apologized to someone they wronged. One comment stood out. I used to make fun of people online, thought it made me cool. Then I watched your video. I deleted all my posts, started over. Thank you. Marcus read it, and smiled. He thought back to that moment, mid-flight, when the lights flickered, when fear gripped the cabin, when everyone panicked, except Curry, still calm, still grounded, still himself. What was it he said? You can let fear control you, or you can breathe through it. Marcus had been breathing ever since. Marcus never met Stephen Curry in person, never got a reply to that email he sent, but it didn't matter, because the message had already been received, and passed on. One night, Marcus sat alone in his office. The room was quiet, no notifications, no calls, just silence. He looked around. Framed awards, expensive gadgets, old photos, everything he once thought defined success. Now, it felt like background noise. He picked up his phone and opened YouTube, scrolled through his channel. 500,000 subscribers, over 50 million views, dozens of lives changed. Not because he sold something, not because he flexed something, but because he shared something real. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. His assistant stepped in. "Sir, there's someone here for you." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "At this hour?" She nodded. "He says his name is James." Marcus froze. James Carter, Curry's security guy. The same man who watched everything unfold on that flight. The man who never said a word, but saw every second. He stood up slowly, heart pounding. Then he walked out. There, standing by the elevator, was James, tall, calm, same unreadable expression. Marcus took a breath. You're real." James gave a small smile. "So are you." They shook hands. Then James reached into his coat, pulled out a folded piece, handed it to Marcus. It was a printout, from a comment section, on one of Marcus's videos, the one where he talked about the flight. The comment read, "This is the first time I've seen someone admit they were wrong, and mean it. That takes courage. Thank you for being honest. You helped me change too." James looked at Marcus. "That wasn't me," he said. "But I showed Steph." He said, "Tell him I'm proud." Marcus couldn't speak. His eyes welled up. James turned to Lee, then paused. One more thing. He looked back. Fear isn't the end. It's the beginning. Then he walked away, leaving Marcus standing there, alone again, but not empty, full of purpose, of peace, of gratitude. He went back inside, sat down, looked at the camera, smiled, pressed record, and began his next video. Title: I used to be someone I wasn't proud of. Then I met a man on a plane, and just like all the others, it changed someone's life.